But for some reason, baby, that language, the Mandarin, Chinese, Yongwen, whooped my behind. That planning to change your life feels almost as good as actually doing it. There lies the quiet, highly sophisticated psychological trap that catches even the smartest people. Talking about you. And you aren't lazy. You are just addicted to your own potential. Oh, guilty, guilty, guilty. Okay, let's get into it. All right. So we like to think our brain only rewarding like us when we cross the finish line, right? Like we cross the finish line, we know we're about to get a trophy. But our neurochemistry is telling a different story. Your brain actually triggers dopamine during anticipation when you are mentally visualizing what it is you're about to do, not just the achievement itself. That's why so many self help, personal development leaders and authors are telling you to visualize, because when you do a visualization, it's so powerful that your body thinks that is happening. That's why when you build a new vision board, when you buy a new notebook ready to put all your journals and thoughts in it, and consuming hours of self-help content, you feel productive. You feel like you are actually doing something. But in actuality, it's a variable reward loop. And that's why some people steer away from advice, not telling other people about what it is you're about to do. Because what it does is when you tell someone, especially people that love you, like you, care for you, about what you're going to do, they're going to congratulate you, even though you haven't done it yet. You have no proof, but because they love, like, and care for you, they are congratulating you. They are giving you the feeling and the thought that this is perfect. Good job. I'm excited. And so your brain is registering it as you accomplished it. You crossed the finish line. And then you may notice your motivation starts to wane away, but you mentally know you have somebody to answer to. And so you're going through this conflicting thought, not understanding why, and it feels like you're in a war with yourself. That's exactly why. The reason is you're getting chemically high on the idea of what you're going to do, who you could be, what you can accomplish, which leaves zero fuel to actually do the work. You gave all of your energy and fuel to just the thought, the thinking, the visualization, the preparing your reward speech before you even do anything. And I want to even tell you this, it actually goes deeper than that dopamine. That potential has been operating as emotional insurance. And what you're doing goes even deeper than dopamine itself. This addiction is actually a very sophisticated psychological trick and trap called self-handicapping. Subconsciously, your mind is trying to avoid full effort, is trying to stop you from going all in, because it removes your excuses. Because it's going to give you the data that your excuses can't override. If you try 100% with your soul, with your might, with everything that you have, and fail, you're going to internalize that as if you aren't good enough. And you can always just give the excuse, hey, I wasn't focused in the first place. That's when potential becomes emotional insurance. As long as you never fully apply yourself, knowing you can do it, hey, I'm going to make sure that I don't emotionally wreck myself. I'm going to lay this blanket down, this mattress down, so I don't fully fall right into the ground emotionally, allowing your false identity to survive completely untouched. So you know how the older people say like young kids are soft, they haven't been through much. Yeah, some of that, although a lot of it, I mean, in a lot of ways that's bullcrap, but in a lot of ways it's true, because you have something providing insurance so that you don't feel the blow. Now, if you fail, failure is feedback. Failure doesn't mean to stop. So this is the gifted child curse. Think about when you're young, everyone's telling you how smart you are, how much potential you have, who you're going to be, how big you're going to be. And you just get all of these. If you were the smart, okay, and I know you, if you were the smartest kid, A plus student, you were a scholar throughout your entire life, you could possibly be struggling right now in your 20s and your 30s, maybe even older in your 40s, because you're still trying to chase that high of the thing that you received and felt before you even did anything. Just because you had high levels of reading fluency, comprehension, math skills, science skills, you were able to understand rhetoric and pull apart like grammar and all of these different things. And when you were younger, just just because you were great academically, it did not transfer over into real life. And so a lot of smart intellectual people are employees of other people who may not even be that smart as them. Because of that, you're chasing the high that you got in anticipating your success, but never really going out and having to work for it. Think about it. The person that a lot of intelligent people are working for are nowhere near as smart as them, because one was given praises throughout their entire childhood, and the other was given likely the opposite and had to go out and figure it out on their own and had nothing to fall back on. And by doing that, they built this resistance, they built this experience, they built this rap sheet of just reps going in and learning, while the intelligent gifted child just relies on their intellect, didn't go out and seek extra. Not saying you didn't experiment and go out and expand, but you were so heavily high. You were so heavily high and addicted to the love and the praise that you got growing up, that you never really experienced the trials and the tribulations of having to build something and not know how to even start in the first place. When you are addicted to potential, beginnerhood threatens your sense of superiority. To learn something new, you must be willing to look average or even bad for a little while. But the potential addict protects themselves and their identity over their actual progress. You would rather be a closeted genius than a visible amateur. When I tell you, I 100% felt this when I moved to, and look, when I moved to China. This is when my husband worked in China. He worked for this football program. But when I moved to China and I could not grasp that language, I gave myself an excuse. I was like, this ain't for me. Just to protect me, because I'm an intelligent person and I have different types of intelligence, not just book smart. But for some reason, baby, that language, the Mandarin, Chinese, Yongwen, kicked, whooped my behind. And I was not willing to look stupid, essentially, long enough in order for me to learn a language. None of this makes sense in real life. You have to be able to go through almost a humiliation ritual. And not really a ritual, but there's a time when you don't know what you're doing. You're embarrassed. You're going to be embarrassed, shameful, but that's okay. It's not a reason to steer clear of the experience itself, because had I not just said, hey, this isn't for me, I had people literally picking on me. I'm like, I just got into this country. You've been studying Chinese for years and years. How we are not comparable, baby, but talk to me about business. I know I went over there and learned how to export products back to America. You can't catch me on that. Okay, so everyone has their different intelligence. But at the time, like, I was just embarrassed. I'm not gonna even act like I was all big and like, yeah. No, I was embarrassed. I felt like a fool. And that's why now I'm relearning the language. When I lived in that country for 4 years, I was in the perfect place, the perfect environment to learn it. But because I was protecting my identity, I chose otherwise. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for me going forward. So we have to break the loop. The question is, how do you break that loop? You're going to have to kill the fantasy. You're going to have to stop fantasizing about your identity. You're going to have to stop fantasizing about who you are and protecting who you currently are. If you want to do something different, you're going to have to upgrade your identity. You're going to have to be someone new. You're going to have to be the person that does the things that you are working towards becoming does. You're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be embarrassed. When you're doing something new, that's a part of the process. I was looking like a fool trying to speak Chinese. I actually was mixing Mandarin with Spanish because I also used to live in Barcelona, Spain. So like when I tell you my sentences were like, when I tell you me, like I didn't have a folder where it was like a Mandarin folder, a Spanish folder, and an English folder. I had a foreign language folder. I had a language folder, not even foreign language. And so my mind was just like putting these words into one sentence. I'm over here telling the people si se puede and all type of Spanish words and mixing it with English. Baby, I was looking a fool. But now I'm more mature, I'm older. I don't care about none of that. And the reason is because you know what? A baby doesn't come out knowing how to walk. No one's picking on the baby. The baby isn't embarrassed that they fall 1,000 times before they learn how to take their first step. No, they get back up and we encourage that baby to walk again. Except now you aren't a baby, you're a full grown adult. And so you're going to have to be that for yourself. You're going to have to encourage yourself to get back up and try again. So now I'm going to Chinatown so I can practice. And the people are graciously correcting me. because it's something that I'm okay with now. You have to trade the infinite, beautiful comfort of what could be for the messy, imperfect reality of what it is. And what it is completely okay. Be okay with what it is so that you can become more and gain more knowledge and fill in that knowledge gap to get the experience necessary to get to the other side. Because an average execution, I don't care what you do, it's going to always be a flawless potential. So it's to unmarry yourself to your potential and find out, are you really about that life? Find out, are you really about the thing that you know you can do in your mind by actually doing it out of your body? Okay, take it from your mind and put it out into this reality. That's how you're going to level up. That's how you're going to go from where you are to where you want to be. And if you're interested in building more momentum in your life, be sure to check the links in the description. And if you're new here, my name is Aspire J. On my channel, we talk about mindset mastery so that we can transform our life, so that we truly can get more fulfillment out of this life. And right now, I am on a journey to building this YouTube channel. So if you want to help me to reach 11,000 subscribers, I would truly appreciate it if you just simply hit the subscribe button and let's get there. I would truly appreciate it. In the meantime, in between time, my name is Aspire J, and I really do hope you have a beautiful day. All right? Peace.